All right, this is Ninth Lit, and the second time we've done this, but a different part of the book. This is the Nun's Priest Tale, which is a mock heroic, and we just gave characteristics of heroic literature. I'm gonna just remember four of them because you'll find those in here. Vast setting, larger than life hero, the elevated language. I would add one that you said, it's the action is also elevated. You know, it's superhero. There's one that you said that you mentioned the country. There was another one, I can't remember what you said, vast setting. But anyway, that's good. And a mock heroic makes fun of that. So instead of a large in life hero, the main character of the Nun's Priest Tale is a rooster. Instead of some larger than life enemy like Grendel or something like that, the enemy or the antagonist will be a fox. Yep. Instead of vast settings, it's the backyard or a farmyard. So everything about it is, the elevated language, you will see it. But because it's about chickens, it makes it humorous because the language is elevated, yes.
Can I read the first tale?
Yes, I think that's all I needed. Okay, so you're going to start the Nun's Priest Tale on
Page
214. Okay, just like every story, the first few lines, the first stanza gives us the setting. So we'll learn about the setting.
Okay. Once long ago, there dwelt a poor old widow in a small cottage by a little meadow, beside a grove and standing in a dale. This widow woman of whom I tell my tale since the sad day when last she was a wife, had led a very patient, simple life. Little she had in capital or rent, but still by making do with what God sent. She kept herself and 2 daughters going, 3 hefty stills, no more were all her showing. 3 cows as well, there was a sheep called Molly, scooting her hall, her kitchen melancholy, and there she ate full many a slender meal. There was no sauce, to spice her veal, no dainty morsel ever passed her throat. According to her thought, she cut her coat. Repletion never left her in
Disquiet.
disquiet, and all her physique was a temperate diet. Hard work for exercise and heart's content, a rich man's doubt did nothing to prevent her dancing
Apoplexy.
Apoplexy struck her not. She drank no wine, nor white nor red had got. Her board was mostly served with white and black, milk and brown bread, in which she found no lack. Boiled bacon, or an egg or 2 were common. She was in fact a sort of a dairy.
The interesting thing about it, that you've been introduced to the setting, the farm, a character, the woman. She has 2 daughters, and it gives you a little. What is she? She's poor. She doesn't have a lot to eat. It's very simple. So it's a simple farm. But the interesting thing, really, she has nothing to do with the story itself. The story is about the animals. So, but it gives it this setting of a barnyard. So now we'll meet the characters, and Anna Grace will read it for us.
She had a yard that was enclosed about by a stockade.
Stockade is like a what do you call it? A wall, a fence.
By a stockade and a dry ditch without, in which she kept a cock called Chanticleer. In all the land for crowing he'd no peer. His voice was jollier than the organ blowing. In church on Sundays he was great at crowing. Far, far more regular than any clock or abbey bell the crowing of this cock. The equinoctial,
Yes.
yeah, that thing, wheel and its position at each ascent he knew by intuition. At every hour 15 degrees of movement, he crowed so well there could be no improvement. His comb was redder than fine coral, tall and battlemented like a castle wall. His bill was black and shone as bright as jet, like azure were his legs, and they were set on azure toes with nails of lily white, like burnished gold, his feathers flaming bright.
All right, thank you. You've been introduced to the main character, Chanticleer. I call him Chanticleer. Some people say Chanticleer. That word is a proper noun. It's the name of someone, but it's also a common noun for a rooster. In fact, if you know anything about Coastal Carolina University down there at Myrtle Beach, ever heard of Coastal Carolina?
Yeah.
Their nickname are the Chanticleers. But that's the small letter, the roosters. Their
Yeah, it looks like a bird.
parent University of South Carolina, are the Gamecocks. So you see it kind of in theme. What is he most proud of, or what is his most distinguishing characteristic?
He's
Yeah.
he's an animal.
Yes, but I believe you said, Celeste, his voice. Do you think of animals with voices?
Madagascar.
More like
something that?
sounds rather than.
That's right. We don't usually use the word voice for anything but human. So there's an example of the personification here. He's going to be described as if he were a person. And what do real roosters do?
They just
Crow.
They crow. And so that's why the voice is the most, he's like any other rooster ever. They crow and they produce offspring. Do you eat? I guess you could eat them. You know, you think of the chicken. But anyway, so he's really proud of that. And you notice the way the language creeps in there that make this seems like an epic poem. It says, embattlement like a castle wall. He mentioned like burnished gold and flaming bright. So this overwriting, this exaggeration is making, this is sort of making fun of the mock heroic. So, Jack, would you like to read more? And you'll learn maybe the second most important. There were really three characters. She's not, well, she's important. His wife, that's also personification. Go ahead.
This General Cobb was a master in some measure. Of 7 hens there to do his pleasure. They were his sisters and his paramours, colored like him in all particulars. She was the loveliest eyes upon her throat. She was known as the gracious lady Marlowe. Courteous she was, discreet and
Debonair.
Companionable too, and took such care in her deportment since she was 7 days old. She held the heart of a chandelier, controlled, slipped up securely in every limb. Oh, what happinesses his love given, and such a joy was it to hear them sing. When the glorious sun was spring, and sweet accord, thy love is far from me. For those far off days understand me. All birds and animals can speak and sing.
So now we know about Pertolo, his wife, his paramour. Even the word paramour, which is a sort of a mistress, it's kind of a medieval word. It's a fancy word. It shows you the elevated language. It says that she is discreet and debonair. These are things you would call a person, but not a chicken. And Chanticleer was in love with her. So you see how they're using the personification, and they sing songs. They just don't crow. So now the line between rooster and human being is really being blurred. So he's really each. He's both a real rooster and a real person. All right. You mentioned the supernatural. That was one of the things. Here is where that comes in, sort of a supernatural thing. So, Owen, do you mind reading? And if you get interrupted, we'll pray with.
Now it befell as dawn began to spring, when Chanticleer of Pertolo and all his wives were perched in the poor widow's hall. Fair Pertolo was next to him on the perch. This Chanticleer began to groan and lurch, like someone sorely troubled by a dream. And Pertolo, who heard him roar and scream, was quite aghast and said, "O dearest heart, what's ailing you? Why do you groan and start? I, what a sleeper, what a noise to make. Madam," he said, "I beg you not to take offense, but by the Lord I had a dream, so terrible just now I had to scream. I can still feel my heart racing from fear.
right, so here's an introduction of the supernatural in the sense of dreams, and dreams that tell the future. So that's the supernatural element, kind of like in Song of Roland. What did he dream about? Yes.
Song of Roland?
He dreamed that this fox, well, he doesn't know what it is. He
Right.
thought it a beast was standing at
Yes.
like in front of him, and that he was going to kill him. But it's just funny because it's a fox.
Right. Yes. He calls him a beast.
Yes.
So the proverbial enemy of chickens, I guess, would be foxes, and so he sees one in his dream, and so he's afraid.
But then God comes in and kind of soothes his worries, which kind of shows like when you have a relationship with God, he has nothing to fear.
Well, he said by the Lord I had a dream. So yeah, that's the supernatural. You know, he mentions God in it. Again, you keep forgetting he's an animal. What?
He's a chicken.
Yeah, you keep forgetting that, and that's what creates the humor, because you realize you're talking about a chicken.
Happy Friday, Caldwell. This is Coach Bill Annapolis with your Friday prayer time. Can you hear me now? That's something most of us with phones have said a few times in life. It's also a pretty popular commercial where the guy walks around with a cell phone asking, "Can you hear me now?" Most of us have gone through areas where cell phone service break down and we can't hear it all. So much of our lives is about the ability to communicate. Stop for a moment to think about the effort God has made to communicate His love for us. His message is clear. He loves us and wants us to respond by living our lives to the truth. The truth that honors our Creator and serves our fellow man. The problem is sometimes we don't listen. We're too wrapped up in ourselves to hear His call. Think about the grandness of the mountains, the awesomeness of the oceans, and the beauty of the sky. God reveals His power through His creation. Can you hear me now? He asks. In the eyes and faces of others, through family and friends, He reveals His love. Through those who have sacrificed for us and share our joys and sorrows, the body of Christ, He asks, "Can you hear me now?" In the stories of His Word, the miracles, parables, and the lives of the disciples who left everything to follow Him, God calls out, "Can you hear me now?" In our quiet times, the Holy Spirit speaks to our hearts about priorities, about the direction of our lives, and about our purpose for being. "Can you hear me now?" He asks. One day on the cross, His Son Jesus hung in our place. His grace was freely given for our sins through the sacrifice of Christ. Jesus bled and Jesus died. Why? Because He loves you. Can you hear me now? Let's pray. Father, I pray that each day we'll be open to listening. I pray that we will pause and seek you out in the quiet and in the busy times. I pray we will listen and obey and look to live a life that glorifies you, the one who gives us life. Amen. Just a reminder, big weekend, go Tar Heels.
I'm afraid it's not gonna help. They play Duke. All right, so let's read, I think we have time to read maybe one or two more. Anybody wanna read? How about, yeah, anybody else? That'd be fine, we'll start around the
And
same group.
this one, to make sure, this is like the no doubt redness, right?
No, this is for shame. Bottom of page 216.
Oh, okay.
For shame. Last line of
For
it,
shame, she said, "You timorous."
the very last line, bottom.
Oh, sorry, I'm at the wrong page again. For shame, she said, you timorous.
Can I just point that out, those words timorous and poltroon, that's like SAT vocabulary, and this is a chicken. And it does make it seem like epic, because, you know, epic literature has elevated language. Poltroon, by the way, is a coward, so she's calling her, whatever, husband, Chanticleer, a coward. Go ahead.
Okay. Alas, what cowardice by God above! You fortified my
You
heart. and
forfeited, like you gave up, you know, you didn't show
lost-
up.
Oh, sorry. You forfeited my love and lost. You forfeited my heart and lost my love. I cannot love a coward, come what may. For certainly, whatever we may say, all women long, and oh that it might be. For husbands tough, dependable and true, secret, discreet, knowing that are full. The boast, and then will find his courage cool. At every trifling thing by God above, how dare you say for shame and not, and to your love, that there was anything at all you fear? Have you no manly heart to fear? And can a dream reduce you to such terror? Dreams are vanity, God knows, pure error. Dreams are engendered in the two replete, from vapors in the belly which compete with others to abundance, swollen tight.
Okay, what does she not like about him right now?
That he had a dream, he got scared.
He's a coward. She doesn't want to be with a coward. And what is she saying about dreams? The discussion here is about the value of dreams. And what does she say about them?
They don't matter.
No, in fact, they often are from your diet. What you ate causes your dream. Do you remember the scene at the beginning of Christmas Carol where Scrooge is eating all by himself in front of the fire, and he sees Marlowe and talks to him, and Scrooge says something like, "Oh, you're not real. You're just a bit of undigested beef."
Oh, yeah.
So there's this belief that if you ate, whatever you eat might mess with your dreams. But she doesn't believe are dreams valuable according to her? Not at all.
She thinks you're silly.
And we had this conversation back with Charles Rowland. We said that what value is there, or what value is there in dreams? And so she's still talking. So we'll go to how about Tim? Would you read No Doubt?
No doubt the redness in your dream tonight comes from superfluity and force of the red odor in your blood. Of course, this is what puts a dreamer into dread, and crimson the air with fire is flaming red. A great red monster is making us to fight him, and big red whelps and little ones to bite him. Just so the black melancholy vapors will sit the sleepers with cutting capers, and swearing that black bears, black bulls as well, or blackest beings are heading into hell. And there are other vapors that I know that unthinking man will work their well, but I'll pass on as lightly as I can.
I'm not going to go into a lot of this. It's hard to explain, but the medieval science, medicine, believed that your body was composed of 4 types of liquids. And that's when he says vapors, that's kind of what she's talking about. And I don't remember them all, but, think about it. Blood is a liquid in your body. The phlegm, that's a liquid. The bile that you have from the, what it creates. Yeah. And there's one other, I can't remember, but they made this kind of whole science about that. They said if you're kind of an irritable person, that means one of those fluids
Is
is
high.
right. Like choler is one of those things. Like if you're a passionate person, that would be the blood. If you're a melancholy person, that would be somebody who's really kind of sad. That would be something else. And I've left one out. What's the word they use for happy? There's that's a sanguine person. That means the blood is a certain way, so you're really happy. And so that's what she's talking about. Red and black here refer to 2 of those kinds of things. And I think we just really quickly, would you read it? Thank you. Just next one, and we'll be done.
Take Cato now, that was so wise a man, did he not say, take no account of dreams? Now, sir, she said, I'm flying from these beams. For love of God, do take some laxative. Upon my soul, that's the advice to give. For melancholy caller, let me urge. You free yourself from vapors with a purge, and that you may have no excuse to tarry, by saying this town has no apothecary. I shall myself instruct you and prescribe herbs that will curb all vapors of that tribe. Herbs from our very farmyard. You will find their natural property is to unbind and purge you well beneath and well above. Now don't forget it, dear, for God's own love. Your face is choleric and shows distinction. Be careful lest the sun in his ascension should catch you full of humors, hot and many, and if he does, my dear, I'll lay a penny. It means a bout of fever or a breath of tertian.
Ague, yeah.
You may catch your death.
So she's saying you don't have to worry about your dreams because that's why it's just a dream. They don't matter at all. And here I'm going to prescribe something for you that will make your stomach feel better because that's the problem. So she doesn't believe anything about dreams. The funny thing about it is Chanticleer does believe in them. And he makes this long case as to why you better pay attention to your dreams. They tell you your future. And so that's kind of where the direction is. All right, you see what we've got coming up. Just wait a minute, we're not quite ready. See what we're coming up in the next week, so make sure you're reading the book. Some of you really need to do that. All of you need to do it, but some more than others, because you didn't do so well last time. And of course, you've got about a week to memorize the lines. And when you are ready, you may leave.
Thank you.
Sure.